Chapter 68-55. Are you all dreaming? How could a second-grade array master write such an answer? Jianghu Dao rolled his eyes and looked at Qin Jian. City Lord Qin, are you sure there's no problem with this result? Qin Jian was also a little confused and said hesitantly, I've already sent people to check this result several times. There shouldn't be any problems. If that's the case, I'm afraid there's no other explanation other than this one. Fan Xian's eyes were filled with thought. Perhaps this girl's luck is good and her answer is right on point. Thinking back to the situation when they were marking the papers yesterday because there were too many people who wrote nonsense, as long as it was a more reliable answer, the results were very good. Among them there was no lack of lucky array masters. As long as their answers were correct, they would be able to obtain good results. Perhaps one of them was Bailey Hongzhuang, but to say that one of the two most outstanding papers belonged to her, he would definitely not believe it. It's best to check this result again later. If we don't get to the bottom of this, I'm afraid it'll be hard to explain to the others. I understand. Qin Jian nodded, feeling a little helpless in his heart. Compared to believing that there was a problem with their calculations, he would rather believe that Bailey Hongzhuang really did have good results. It was because of this girl that the results were always doubted every time. Third place, Wanshui City's Jiang Haihan. Second place, Qianma City's Fan Zihang. Following the appearance of these two popular names, everyone's expression changed again. Almost everyone was sure that Fan Zihang would definitely get first place. They didn't expect him to get second place. Didn't this mean that in this third round, someone's results were better than Fan Zihang and Jiang Haihan's? However, other than the two of them, the other popular array masters' rankings had all been announced. The only one who didn't have a result was, everyone's gaze turned to the tall and handsome white figure on the high platform, Yang Lingfeng. Why do I feel like this scene is strangely familiar? Yang Qingxue, I think so too. Yang Han, that was when the results of the first round were announced. Yang Lingfeng's eyes lit up. Doesn't that mean, just as he was about to say something that made his heart surge, a dazzling line of words appeared on the ranking board. First place, Di Beichen of Qingyang City. The dazzling line of words almost blinded everyone's eyes. This time there was no eruption of cheers. The entire venue was deathly silent. After seeing Fan Zihang's name, everyone already had some premonition in their hearts. But when all of this really happened, everyone still found it hard to believe. Damn, it's really him. This is probably the biggest dark horse in the history of the Array Master competition. Isn't this too exaggerated? Didn't he just arrive in the chaotic immortal realm not long ago? His array skills are actually above Fan Zihang's? Xin Xing and Ning Tian's eyes lit up. They hadn't seen wrong. Di Beichen was truly a genius. They didn't expect that Di Beichen would win first place in this competition, which was just a test of the waters. I can't believe that the genius we've been looking for is actually Beichen. Chapter 68-56. Apart from the disciple of that expert, there was probably no one else who could achieve such an outstanding result. Thus, he wasn't too surprised when he heard this result. Unlike Xin Xing, Ning Tian and the other masters all had the same expression. They looked at Di Beichen as if they were looking at a treasure. An unpolished gem like him would most likely surpass them in the field of array formations in the future if he spent a little more time on it. Jianghu Dao's expression darkened. He would rather this result belong to anyone else but Di Beichen, but it just had to be him. Shen Duanyu sat down in his chair in a daze. This result was like a sharp knife stabbing into his heart. First place. He's actually first place. Shen Duanyu muttered to himself. Ah! Yang Lingfeng screamed like a madman. He grabbed Di Beichen with both hands and said excitedly, Beichen, did you see that? You're actually first place. Di Beichen, I saw it. Are you surprised? Are you surprised? I know everything. Yang Lingfeng excitedly gave Di Beichen a hug. Di Beichen, Bailey Hongzhuang turned around. This scene was as if Yang Lingfeng was the one who had won first place. They were just short of standing on the stage and bowing in gratitude. This. Yang Qingxue's reaction wasn't any better. She clutched her chest with both hands and said, This is too exciting. Bai Qingli smiled faintly. Looks like our insomnia last night was worth it. This result was beyond everyone's expectations. It was simply too astonishing. After a brief moment of joy, voices of doubt also sounded. Could there be some kind of shady deal? Di Beichen is just a newbie. It's impossible for him to win first place in his first competition. He's a prodigy. Otherwise, the two masters wouldn't have taken a liking to him. Jianghu Dao looked at Qin Jian. He felt that there must be something wrong with this matter. However, he had personally looked through the contents of the paper. Even if Xin Xing and Ning Tian worked together, they couldn't have analyzed it so clearly. Therefore, there was no possibility of cheating at all. When Qin Jian saw Bailey Hongzhuang's results, he had some doubts in his heart. Perhaps he had seen wrongly? After seeing Di Beichen's results, he was certain that his judgment was not wrong. The two papers that had amazed the five masters must have been written by Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang. After all, they were husband and wife. Everyone please calm down. There is absolutely no problem with the results this time. Qin Jian's attitude was incomparably firm, directly suppressing everyone's doubts. Next, the results of the third stage will be revealed, and everyone will find the source of their doubts. Not only were the busybodies curious, even Yang Han and the others were looking at the rankings curiously. With the changes in Beichen's and Hongzhuang's rankings, it was likely that the two of them would have to obtain first and second place to pass the third round, right? Bai Qingli frowned slightly. Beichen was first in the first round, but he's 10th in the second round. Even if he obtained first place in the third round, his total score shouldn't be enough to obtain first place. What nonsense are you talking about? Yang Lingfeng instinctively refuted Bai Qingli. However, after thinking about it carefully, he realized that she was right. Chapter 68-57. Fan Ziheng placed third in the first round and first in the second round. Could it be that his results in the third round were too bad? As soon as he said this, everyone looked at Yang Lingfeng in silence. No one said anything, but their expression said it all. Fan Ziheng has always been a genius. The possibility of him making a mistake is very small. Bai Qingli's expression was serious. He had paid attention to Fan Ziheng. This person's foundation in array techniques was very solid. It was basically impossible for his results to plummet. Moreover, even if Fan Ziheng made a mistake, there was still Jiang Haihan. Everyone's expression became very strange. It couldn't be that there was a problem with the results, right? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned slightly. As long as they could enter the top 10, it was not a big problem for them. Fan Ziheng was fine, but Jiang Haihan. When she thought that Zhen Gudao's disciples' ranking would surpass Beichen's, she was really unhappy. Fourth place, Wanshui City's Jiang Haihan. Third place, Qianma City's Fan Ziheng. Second place, Qingyang City's Bailey Hongzhuang. First place, Qingyang City's Di Beichen. Seeing such a ranking, everyone understood in their hearts. However, the problem still remained. Haha, these two little guys really exceeded my expectations. Ning Tian smiled proudly as she cast a sidelong glance at Zhen Gudao. This guy usually relied on the fact that he had an outstanding disciple to insult her, but now he was speechless as well. At this moment, Jiang Haihan suddenly bowed and said, "City Lord Qin, this one has a question. I hope everyone can answer it. Please speak." Young Master Di's performance was very outstanding. There is no doubt about that. However, from the overall results of the 3 rounds, the highest should be young Master Fan, not him. Jiang Haihan immediately noticed the problem. It was not her first time participating in the competition, so she was very clear about the process. Obviously, there was a problem with the rankings. Everyone noticed the loophole, and for a moment there was an uproar. Yang Lingfeng sighed, "My prayers were in vain." Yang Qinxue rolled her eyes. Everyone is waiting for an opportunity to catch Beichen's weakness. Naturally, they won't miss such an opportunity. How could there be such a problem with the score? Yang Han frowned. Judging from this score, Beichen had no problem getting into the top 5. This result would also make everyone feel very surprised, but now that there was a first place and then there was a problem with the ranking, this score would undoubtedly be greatly reduced in everyone's hearts. There's a problem with the score. Let's recalculate. Everyone suggested. A glimmer of light appeared in Fan Ziheng's eyes. He found it hard to accept that he had been defeated by a newcomer who had suddenly appeared. Now that such a problem had occurred, it undoubtedly gave him a glimmer of hope. However, he suddenly noticed that his father was shaking his head at him. Fan Ziheng could not help but be startled. He was even more puzzled as to what exactly had gone wrong. In the face of everyone's doubts, Qin Jian was very calm. This question should be answered by the 5 masters. Everyone subconsciously looked at Ning Tian. Ning Tian and Di Beichen had an unusual relationship, but the one who stood up was Fan Xian. Chapter 68-58. If Di Beichen was ranked 10th in the second round, then in the third round he left the third-ranked formation master behind by more than 100 places. Because the gap between them is just too big, we can't ignore it. That's why the 5 of us came up with this result after a discussion, Fan Xian explained calmly. Fan Xian calmly stated this fact. When they looked at the 2 papers, they unanimously informed Qin Jian of this decision. Such a genius deserved such a reward. However, they never thought that the 2 of them would be Di Beichen and Fan Xian. Following Fan Xian's words, the crowd couldn't help but gasp in surprise. There was indeed a problem with the rankings, but it was a result that the 5 masters agreed on. If Ning Tian had been the one to explain this, they might not have believed it. However, since it was Master Fan who said it, it meant that there really was no problem. So that's how it is. Yang Han sighed in relief and smiled. Bai Ziyuan looked at the 2 young people behind him and smiled. What a gift from the heavens. I just relied on luck. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. If Di Beichen hadn't told her about this formation before, she probably wouldn't have made it into the top 100, let alone the top 10. Luck is also a part of one's strength. However, we've really struck it rich this time. Yang Lingfeng said excitedly. This is the first time I felt that our Qingyang city's name is so dazzling. We've never appeared on this list before. This time we're really satisfied. Shihai didn't make it into the top 100, so he never saw his name on the list. Thinking back to his disdain for Di Beichen and Fan Xian, he felt his face heat up. It was really embarrassing. At this moment, Fan Ziheng finally understood the meaning behind Fan Xian's shaking of his head. He swallowed the unwillingness in his heart. To be able to make his father make such a decision, it meant that the other party was really outstanding. Jiang Haihan was a little unwilling, but she still kept her mouth shut. She wasn't an idiot like Shen Duanyu who left such a big topic for others to use. Next, the top 10 array masters. Please step up to the high platform to receive your rewards, Qin Jian announced with a smile. There was a commotion in the crowd. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen walked up together. As the 10 array masters appeared on the stage, Ning Tian stepped forward and walked forward at a steady pace. She began to give out the rewards to the top 10 cultivators. The rewards this time are cultivation resources and books on array techniques. The opportunity to comprehend the monument will only be available after the competition ends, Qin Jian reminded. Ning Tian looked at everyone with a smile. Congratulations on obtaining such an outstanding ranking. You are all very outstanding array masters. I hope that you will obtain even better results. Thank you, Master. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the Qingkuan bag and a book on formations in her hands, her clear eyes shining brightly. She had heard that the rewards were very generous. The blood spirit stones in her Qingkuan bag should be enough for her to buy a lot of things. Beichen was first place, so his reward should be even more generous. The reward ceremony that followed was very simple. Some of the array formation masters who had failed had already left, unwilling to stay any longer. Chapter 68-59. He followed this gaze and his heart instantly turned cold. Was Xinxing. He didn't expect that there would actually be a master paying so much attention to him at a time like this, and the coldness in that gaze made him clearly understand that he probably couldn't avoid it. He had only targeted Di Beichen a few times, and Master Shen was already so concerned about him. Just how much did he value him? Xinxing's voice only sounded after the rewards for the top 100 had been distributed. The Formation Master competition has ended. Apart from that, there's still another punishment that has yet to be announced. Ning Tian and the others only reacted after hearing this. They had almost forgotten that there was still such a matter. Because Shen Duanyu didn't abide by the rules and targeted Formation Masters time and time again, and slandered and questioned without any reason, he's now stripped of his status as a Formation Master and is no longer a member of the Formation Masters. Xinxing's cold voice slowly sounded as if he was passing judgment. His voice was cold and hard without the slightest bit of warmth, but it made Shen Duanyu feel as if he had fallen into an ice cellar. He had already guessed this result, but when he really heard it, he still felt a wave of pain in his heart. After losing this status, what value did he have? Master, please save me. Shen Duanyu looked at Zheng Gudao in panic. Apart from his master, there was already no one who could save him. Zheng Gudao glanced at him coldly. You're no longer my disciple. Master, please, on account of our past relationship, you brought this upon yourself. Zheng Gudao flicked his sleeves and left. The only trace of longing he had for Shen Duanyu had been completely severed. Apart from begging him when he needed help, this guy usually didn't show any signs of remorse at all. You reap what you sow. Bailey Hongzhuang held Di Beichen's arm and left with everyone. Beichen Hongzhuang, I think you'd better come to our place first. Halfway there, Bai Ziyuan suddenly suggested. With your current popularity, I'm afraid your residence has already been surrounded. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression stiffened, and she instantly recalled the situation where they were surrounded by a group of city lords earlier. That scene was really unbearable to recall. You're right, let's go to your place first. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. She didn't want to be surrounded by a group of city lords. Currently, they didn't have any intention of going to other cities, nor did they have any intention of giving up the opportunity to comprehend the monument. Yes. Yang Han looked at Bai Qingli with satisfaction. You're so thoughtful. When Yang Han and the others returned to their residence and saw the sea of people, the corners of their lips couldn't help but twitch. Isn't this a little too exaggerated? Yang Lingfeng rolled his eyes. This is the first time I've experienced such a welcoming feeling. And these people are of the city lord level. Upon seeing Yang Han's return, the city lord's eyes lit up and they rushed forward one after another. It was only when they discovered that Di Baichen and Yang Han were not present that they revealed looks of doubt. City Lord Yang, where did young Master Di and Miss Bailey go? Where did they go? Please tell me. We can be considered good friends who have known each other for many years. You didn't even give them a chance to meet before hiding them. Aren't you being too petty? Yang Han. Do you have any shame? We clearly don't know each other, okay? Chapter 68-60. When they arrived at their residence in Cloud City and saw that no one had come to look for them, they let out a sigh of relief. Let's go in and rest. Bai Ziyuan called out, today's result was really unexpected. In such a difficult third round, you actually obtained such a good result that even the 5 grandmasters were shocked. Di Baichen, we've seen this array before. So that's how it is, no wonder. Bai Ziyuan's eyes were deep, filled with countless emotions. Heroes are created by circumstances, and luck is a part of strength. Bai Ziyuan stared at the two in front of him, his mouth opened and closed, wanting to say something, but in the end he didn't say anything. Qingli, if you want to say something, just say it. Bailey Hongzhuang noticed his expression and took the initiative to speak. Bai Qingli was a bit hesitant, then said, now that your status is different from before, all the major cities are vying to invite you to join. Once you join, your treatment and influence will be different. People walk towards higher places, this is how it should be. However, the reason why these city lords are so enthusiastic is inseparable from the perception monument. For your own long-term benefits, no matter what the other party offers, it's best not to hand over this quota. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled slightly. Yang Lingfeng had already said this to her, so it could be seen that the perception monument was not an ordinary opportunity. Don't worry, we won't hand over this quota. Bai Ziyuan and Bai Qingli sighed. The two of them were originally from Cloud City, and this time they were participating in the competition under the name of Qingyang City, so they had missed a great opportunity. However, judging from their soaring momentum, even if their cities were to participate in the competition, they would not be able to stay after the competition ended. We don't have any plans to leave. Di Baichen's deep and magnetic voice suddenly rang out. Bai Ziyuan was stunned, but also somewhat surprised. We don't have any plans to go to other cities for the time being. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Gong Jun's shop had just started and needed some time to stabilize. Moreover, the matter of the illusory form orb had not been settled yet. Most importantly, they were going to an unfamiliar city. The other party only cared about the benefits they could bring, unlike Shiyun City and Qingyang City, who were friends. Hearing this, Bai Ziyuan and the other man couldn't help but reveal a joyful smile. It was really hard to believe that they would choose to stay under such circumstances. At this moment, an array master ran in and said with a complicated expression, City Lord, we discovered that many people are rushing over here. I'm afraid they already know that young Master D and the others are here. Bai Ziyuan's expression changed slightly when he heard that. He said, since you don't plan to go to other cities, it's best that you don't come into direct contact with these city lords to avoid offending them. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Where are we going now? Another array master suddenly ran in. Young Master D, Miss Bailey, Grandmaster Shen sent someone to invite you over for a chat. Bailey Hongzhuang heaved a sigh of relief. All right, we'll go right away. Master Shen must have guessed that you would encounter such a situation, so he specially invited you over. At Master Shen's place, the other city lords will not go over. Chapter 68-61. Before the other city lords arrived, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Baichen had already sped up and quickly headed to Master Shen's residence. Along the way, some people also noticed them, but when everyone realized that the people beside them were Master Shen's attendants, they understood. You're here. Shen Xing looked at the two familiar figures, and a faint smile appeared on her usually gentle face. Were you almost surrounded when you returned to your residence? Di Beichen, if Master Shin's invitation had been a little slower, we might not have been able to get out. Ah. Ning Tian laughed cheerfully. That scene happens almost every year, but because you two little guys are new and the strength of the cities you belong to isn't very strong, everyone is even more unscrupulous. You've really surprised us this time. However, how did you manage to see through the formation of the third stage? A curious look appeared on Shen Xing's face. Initially, they had already decided that they had to invite the top two formation masters for a chat. However, after learning that they were these two little guys, the invitation process became even simpler. We've seen this array before. Di Beichen said frankly. You've seen it before? Ning Tian's eyes lit up. Where did you see it? With your current strength, you shouldn't be able to see through such an array without someone explaining it. Of course my master explained it, Di Beichen said casually. Anyway, Shen Xing already knew about Zhongli Sharon's existence, so he might as well push all the blame to his master, and they wouldn't have any doubts. When Beichen's master was explaining, I was also listening, so I have some understanding, Bailey Hongzhuang said. Sure enough, after hearing all this, Shen Xing showed an expression of sudden realization. I think only an array master like the master can understand such an array and analyze it so thoroughly. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her lips and smiled. Of course, Beichen's master is a master. Ning Tian looked at the three people in front of her and couldn't help but frown. Which master is it? How could he be so powerful? How can the name of the expert be revealed so casually? All you need to know is that he's a very powerful expert, Shen Xing said. Ning Tian looked at Shen Xing suspiciously. Ever since a while ago, this guy had often mentioned a certain expert, and the word worship was written all over his face. However, whenever Ning Tian wanted to ask about this expert, he would shut his mouth. It was really uncomfortable. Forget it. I won't ask. Ning Tian waved her hand. What do you plan to do next? You plan to comprehend the steals? The two of you have some foresight. You didn't sell the quota to others. Those who did are all idiots. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. Why did she feel that Master Ning was very angry when he said the word, idiot? Grandmaster Ning used to think highly of an array master and wanted to accept him as a disciple. But, who would have thought that the array master would value the generous conditions offered by the other city lords and sell his quota to them? Shen Xing explained with a smile. What happened next? Not only did Grandmaster Ning not take that array master as his disciple, but he also scolded him and drove him away. Shen Xing couldn't help but laugh. She seemed to recall the scene at that time and felt that it was very interesting. Chapter 68-62. Grandmaster, can you tell us more about the perception steal? Bailey Hongzhuang's face was filled with curiosity. They only knew that comprehending the steal was a very rare opportunity. Cultivators could comprehend some martial arts or other things from it. But looking at everyone's attention, she felt that things weren't that simple. Although everyone has always called it the perception steal, there isn't just one steal but a group of steals. As for how many steals you have, no one knows. We only know that it's very deep here. According to our current understanding, the deeper you go, the deeper you may comprehend. Also, there are actually different attribute areas here. You can walk in the corresponding direction according to your attribute, which will allow you to gain deeper insights. In addition, the insights you obtain may be the understanding of attributes, martial skills, magical powers, array techniques, pill recipes, and so on. It all depends on you. However, you can only obtain one thing. Shen Xing explained the situation of the perception steal. What we can confirm is that the things you obtain in the perception steal can't be obtained in the outside world, so you must seize the opportunity. This perception steal is so magical. Bailey Hongzhuang looked emotional. She had heard Yang Lingfeng and the others say that the magical powers obtained here would be very powerful, but she didn't expect there to be so many types. When I entered the perception steal, I obtained array techniques. That's why my level improved so much. Shen Xing recalled the scene from back then. However, I didn't go deep enough. The deeper you go, the fewer things there are, but the more precious they are. After you go in, you must seize the time and don't blindly go deep. Decide according to your own situation. Thank you for your advice, Grandmaster. We understand. Bailey Hongzhuang bowed in gratitude. I see that you two are very lucky. I hope you can maintain this good luck after entering the perception steal, Ning Tian said with a smile. Di Beichen, when will we enter the perception steal? Ning Tian, The day after tomorrow we will personally take you there. We will gather in the morning. Di Baichen, okay. Ning Tian looked at Di Baichen's unmoved expression and couldn't help but ask, what do you plan to do after the perception steal is over? Naturally I'll go back, Di Baichen said calmly. You don't plan to learn more about arrays from me? Ning Tian looked at Di Baichen in exasperation. She had already said so much, but this kid still refused to take advantage of the situation. However, Di Baichen remained calm. I already have a master. Ning Tian, Xin Xing also chimed in, Baichen's master is extraordinarily powerful, so don't even think about it. Ning Tian, am I that bad in your eyes? I have no intention of accepting you as my disciple, but I can still give you a few pointers. If you are interested, you can come back with me after all this is over and study it properly. Ning Tian did this purely out of her love for talent. Di Baichen had such achievements at such a young age. As long as he continued to study, his future achievements in array skills would definitely be stunning. Moreover, that expert seemed to be elusive. Di Baichen might not be able to find him in a short time. Rather than that, he might as well learn from him first. Chapter 68-63. Ning Tian. Was this kid trying to piss him off? Xin Xing looked at Ning Tian's constantly changing expression, and she was also quite amused. There were countless young people who wanted to become Ning Tian's disciple. Now Ning Tian wanted to become someone else's master, but that person didn't want to. Are you sure you'll be fine just by looking at the formation book? Ning Tian's eyes narrowed. Why hadn't he realized that this kid was so stubborn? Di Baichen, it shouldn't be a problem. He had already flipped through a few pages of the formation book. Xin Xing had already given him a book that introduced how to break through from a third-rank formation master to a fourth-rank formation master. Even though he hadn't read the formation book that was awarded during the competition, he was sure that it would be very informative, so he was confident that he would be able to self-study. Ning Tian. He was completely convinced. Do you know how many people you've infuriated with your stubbornness? Xin Xing suddenly said. Ning Tian shot a cold glance at Xin Xing and gritted his teeth. I am indeed quite detestable. Seeing as you've already made up your mind, I won't say anything else. Ning Tian cast this thought aside. I told you that I would award you the position of Formation Master after the competition. Even though you didn't take part in the Formation Master assessment, I have a better understanding of your formation skills from your performances in the second stage. Here, this is your Array Formation Master's badge. Ning Tian pulled out 2 badges and handed one to Di Baichen and one to Bailey Hongzhuang. If you find that your formation skills have improved, you can go directly to the Formation Master Guild to take the advancement assessment. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the white badge in her hand. There were 2 small stars engraved on it, and an elated smile appeared on her face. This badge was not to be underestimated. With this badge it would save them a lot of trouble. However, after looking at the badges in her hand and then at Di Baichen's badge, she couldn't help but ask, why is Baichen's badge red? That's the badge that the Formation Master who takes first place in the Formation Master competition has, Xin Xing explained with a smile. Xin Xing explained with a faint smile, normal Formation Masters have white badges and the higher the rank, the more stars they have. However, the champion of the Array Formation Master competition has a special privilege. Their badge is red. Even if they participate in the advancement test and change to a new badge, it will still be red. This is a kind of honor. Bailey Hongzhuang picked up Di Baichen's badge and compared the 2 badges. The Array Master's badge felt very good, but after comparing the 2 badges she found that Baichen's badge was not only different in color, but also heavier in weight. Obviously, the material of this badge was different as well. The designer had really put a lot of thought into it. If you're worried that other people will come looking for you before you head to the Enlightenment Stele, then why don't you stay here for the time being and come with us? Xin Xing suggested. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at Di Baichen. This was indeed a good idea. Di Baichen said, it's up to you. Bailey Hongzhuang bowed and said, then I'll have to trouble the 2 of you. Ning Tian looked at Di Baichen's attitude toward Bailey Hongzhuang, and she began to wonder if she had chosen the wrong target. Maybe if Bailey Hongzhuang agreed, this kid wouldn't refuse. Chapter 68-64. In the blink of an eye, the day had arrived. Early in the morning, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Baichen were already ready to set off. They had stayed here for 2 days and had interacted with the 2 masters many times, many of which had benefited them greatly. However, Bailey Hongzhuang also realized that Master Ning simply couldn't wait for Di Beichen to come and ask him for guidance. Unfortunately, a certain someone just wouldn't let Master Ning have his way. You've packed up quite quickly. Ning Tian glanced at Di Beichen. It was clear that he had suffered internal injuries from holding it in for the past 2 days and had nowhere to vent his anger. Have you figured out the answer to the question I gave you yesterday? Di Beichen handed a piece of paper to Ning Tian. This is my answer. Shen Xing also came over when he saw this. Even if Di Beichen had some questions over the past 2 days, he would mostly communicate with him. Ning Tian was very anxious to see this, so he had come up with this question last night. If Di Beichen could answer it, then so be it. If he couldn't, then he would have to study under him for a month. He had also seen this question before. It could be said that this question was at the top of the range of third-rank formation masters. Ning Tian looked at Di Beichen with a smug expression. He had spent a lot of effort to come up with this question, so he didn't believe that this kid could answer it correctly. However, his smug expression didn't last for more than 3 seconds. When he saw the content of the question clearly, his expression also became very astonished. You actually answered it all? Di Beichen was as calm as the wind. It wasn't very difficult. Ning Tian, Shen Xing laughed loudly. Just give up, Ning Tian. Beichen's talent in this area isn't something that ordinary people can compare to. Even if he were to self-study with his comprehension ability, it wouldn't be a problem at all. Ning Tian silently looked at this extraordinarily good-looking guy in front of him for a moment. However, he had no choice but to admit that Shen Xing was telling the truth. This guy was a natural-born formation master. His comprehension ability in this area was simply uncanny. Fine, I'll let it go this time. However, we'll have the chance to meet again sooner or later, Ning Tian said with some reluctance. Bailey Hongzhuang chuckled. She didn't expect Grandmaster Ning to have such a proud side. When Di Beichen and Qin Jian met up with the other array masters, they realized that Qin Jian and the other 3 array masters were there as well. I was wondering where the champion of the competition went. It turns out that he was with the 2 masters. When Qin Jian saw the 2 of them, he understood what was going on. I saw that everyone has been looking for them these past 2 days, so I guess that they must have gone to your place. Fan Xian chuckled. No one dared to rashly disturb the residence of the 2 grandmasters. These 2 fellows can't be compared to you. Ning Tian waved her hand casually. Since everyone is here, let's set off. Zhen Gudao's expression was dark as he looked at Di Beichen. He hadn't thought that Ning Tian would actually be so considerate, directly escorting the 2 little fellows back. Otherwise, even if these 2 fellows had to hand over their spots in the comprehension steels, it would have been extremely good. Sensing that faintly discernible gaze, Di Beichen turned to look at Zhen Gudao before silently retracting his gaze. Zhen Gudao shouldn't be able to do anything in this comprehension steels, Bailey Hongzhuang said in a low voice. With the 2 grandmasters watching, he wouldn't dare to be too brazen. Chapter 68-65. After passing through a teleportation formation, Bailey Hongzhuang and the others arrived at a very special place. Fuck. It was a white world. As far as the eye could see, it was a white world. The naked eye could only see a 2-meter radius. The dreamy environment was like a fairyland. Even the people next to them seemed to be tainted with a trace of fairyland. Looking into the distance, he could faintly see numerous stone tablets that were faintly discernible, and they emitted a heavy and powerful aura. So this is the comprehension tablets. Bailey Hongzhuang looked around emotionally. She could feel a powerful aura coming from the surroundings. The entire world was emitting a wonderful charm. This is the comprehension tablets. Ning Tianxiao looked at the 2 of them. You can enter the comprehension tablets later. However, you'll only be in there for 7 days. If you don't gain anything in these 7 days, you must come out. You must not stay here. If you miss the opportunity to leave, you won't be able to come out again. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly when she saw the master's solemn expressions. This place was so mysterious. Presumably, even the masters did not have a way to escape unscathed. In other words, the chaotic immortal realm only knew some of the uses of this place. There were more unknowns. The comprehension tablets are only opened once every 10 years. Only 10 people are allowed to enter each time. Usually, cultivators will gain their own comprehension. However, it's not like there haven't been people who didn't gain anything. Everything depends on one's luck. There are many things that you don't understand here. If you're not careful, you might lose your life. Therefore, you must be careful. We'll remember Master's teachings, the 10 formation masters said in unison. In the next instant, the origin energy in the five masters' bodies surged and turned into a huge handprint. It emitted a powerful force that dispersed the fog in front of everyone. The light seemed to have broken through the fog and showed them a path. Follow this path and enter. After 7 days, follow this path and come out. We'll be waiting for you here. Now you may enter. As City Lord Qin's voice fell, everyone did not hesitate and walked in one after another. As soon as they entered the comprehension tablets, Bailey Hongzhuang realized that the comprehension tablets that looked very crowded at first were actually very wide apart. It was far beyond their imagination. The comprehension tablets emitted different auras. Some were warm, some were cold, some were dark, and some were lively. There were all kinds of auras. Some of the tablets would be friendly to them, while some would be cold and repulsive. At this moment, Bailey Hongzhuang understood why the master told them to experience it themselves. This was a world that could not be measured by other things. They could only go through one's senses. Not long after she walked in, she had already sensed that some of the stone tablets were relatively close to her. However, she did not stop because of this, because Master Shin had once said that the gains obtained from the depths of the tablet were often even more precious. Not only them, but Fan Zihang and the others were also constantly venturing deeper. Chapter 68-66. As they went deeper into the forest, their field of vision widened a little. Everyone no longer walked together but scattered and walked separately. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen kept moving forward. They had no intention of separating for the time being. Hai Han, these two people don't seem to have any intention of separating. What should we do? Don't worry so much. Let's follow them first. It won't be too late for us to make a move when we reach a place where others can't see. Since they don't want to separate, the two of them can only die together. A trace of coldness appeared in Jiang Haihan's eyes. These two newcomers with no background dared to be so arrogant just because they were favored by the two masters. They deserve to be taught a lesson. Forgive me, they are people that the two masters think highly of. If something happens here, I'm afraid everyone will easily suspect us. The man frowned slightly. If it weren't for the good conditions offered by Jiang Haihan, he wouldn't have dared to take the risk. It's good that the two masters think highly of them, but there hasn't been any news of accepting them as disciples for so long. How good can they be? Once they become two dead people, all their value will dissipate. Jiang Haihan didn't care. She had been paying attention to the movements of the two masters for the past 2 days. Until she was sure that the two masters hadn't accepted any disciples, she made up her mind. If they really thought highly of these two people, it was impossible for them not to accept them as disciples. This person had already formed a grudge with them. If they developed in the future, it would inevitably make them unhappy. It was better to kill them directly and eliminate all future troubles. As they went deeper, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen rejected many stone tablets that had a friendly aura. They didn't stop walking. Wife, be careful. Di Beichen suddenly held Bailey Hongzhuang's hand tightly. Noticing the strangeness, a trace of doubt appeared in Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes. Did something happen? It seems that some people can't hold back. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. Is it Jiang Haihan? Among all the formation masters who entered, only Jiang Haihan had the deepest hatred with them. Although Fan Zihang didn't like them from Master Fan's performance, he probably wouldn't kill them because of this. Di Beichen, yes. Aren't their guts a little too big? Only 10 people have entered the comprehension monument. Once we die, everyone will suspect them. Aren't they afraid? Once we're dead, we won't be of any value. Plus, there's no concrete evidence pointing to them. Even if the two masters know about it, they won't do anything on the surface. Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes lit up. Isn't that perfect? We can get rid of him while we're at it. That's exactly what I wanted. The two of them sped up their departure speed and flew forward at top speed. Noticing Di Beichen's sudden increase in speed, Jiang Haihan's expression changed slightly. Did they discover something? Even if they find out now, it's too late. Let's get rid of them as quickly as possible. Jiang Haihan's expression was gloomy. The opportunity to enter the Enlightenment Monument was very precious. He did not want to waste too much time on these two people. In the next instant, the two of them also flew forward. When they came to an open space, the two of them realized that they had lost track of them. A trace of annoyance appeared on their faces. I didn't expect them to be so fast. Jiang Haihan's expression was extremely ugly. Chapter 68-67. Jiang Haihan looked around. Earlier, he had noticed two shadows passing by nearby. Logically speaking, they should be nearby. Just when the two of them were hesitating whether the other party had really run away, a devilish voice suddenly sounded. "Are you looking for us?" It was a familiar voice with a different accent. It had an inexplicable chill, causing the two of them to stiffen. They turned around and saw that Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang, who had disappeared earlier, had appeared behind them. Bailey Hongzhuang sized up the person beside her. She had only seen this person during the award ceremony and did not know much about him. "The two of you have some guts. You actually dared to take the initiative to appear." Jiang Haihan quickly recovered from her shock and looked at the two of them coldly. Her eyes were already filled with murderous intent. "Young Master Jiang has spent so much effort to find a good opportunity for us. Naturally, we won't let your efforts go to waste." Di Beichen's eyes were filled with contempt. He had thought that Jiang Haihan was stronger than Xin Duanyu. Now, it seemed that none of Zhen Gudao's disciples were smart. Jiang Haihan's expression changed slightly. A guy who has just arrived in the chaotic immortal realm dares to speak so arrogantly. "Aren't you afraid of biting your tongue?" Xin Duanyu thought so too. "Don't compare me with that trash." Jiang Haihan's eyes were filled with disgust and contempt. "I'll do what he can't do. Consider this a charity from me, his former senior brother." Ha! A faint and hoarse laugh came from Di Beichen's chest. His eyes, which were as deep as 10,000 years of ice, were filled with murderous intent. Tang Yuanhui, who was at the side, lowered his voice and reminded, "Haihan, these two fellows look a little strange. Let's end this quickly." If it were an ordinary person, they would have already fled in such a situation. However, these two fellows dared to rush over. There must be something wrong. "Do it." Jiang Haihan took a step forward and attacked Di Beichen viciously. Even if it was a silent sneak attack, Di Beichen's reaction speed was extremely fast, and the sneak attack did not succeed. Instead, he easily dodged the attack. Bailey Hongzhuang's figure flashed and attacked Tang Yuanhui. Her moves were as dense and powerful as a storm. None of them had much time to waste here. The most important thing was to take each other's lives as soon as possible. After this exchange, Jiang Haihan realized that although Di Beichen was young, his combat power was not weak. He did not fall into a disadvantageous position. Damn it! Jiang Haihan cursed inwardly. He really didn't expect this kid's combat effectiveness to be so outstanding. If he had known earlier, he would have found another helper. That way he wouldn't have to expend so much effort. Di Beichen raised his hand, and a trap and killer ray was formed, trapping Jiang Haihan within it. What a joke! Jiang Haihan's eyes sharpened. Similarly, a killer ray was formed. The two arrays directly enveloped the two of them together. After seeing Di Beichen and Jiang Haihan locked in a fierce battle, Tang Yuanhui suddenly approached Bailey Hongzhuang and quickly retreated. There was a trace of joy in his eyes. However, in just a moment, his expression had already frozen. He saw Bailey Hongzhuang holding a silver needle between her fingers. There was a trace of ridicule in her eyes. "You poisoned me?" Chapter 68-68. "You actually poisoned a poison master?" Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. Her delicate face was instantly dyed with a trace of enchantment and evil charm. "Could it be that you're also a poison master?" She felt that Tang Yuanhui's sudden move was very familiar, so she was on her guard. She didn't expect him to use such a familiar move. Poison master?" Tang Yuanhui was dumbfounded. He subconsciously asked, "You're a poison master? Before you take action, isn't your investigation a little too incomplete?" The woman's lips curled into a cold smile. Her disdainful black eyes emitted a deep luster, as if there was a faint bloody glow floating in them. Seeing the woman admit it like this, Tang Yuanhui's face instantly turned pale. He had come into contact with a poison master before, and this move of his was also taught by a poison master. Due to the fact that the time in the Enlightenment Monument was too precious, he wanted to settle this as soon as possible. However, he never knew that Bailey Hongzhuang was actually a poison master. How frightening was a poison master? He knew it too well. "Since you like to use poison too, why don't we compete in the art of poison?" Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a playful smile. She had already put away her sharp sword, and the silver needles quietly appeared between her fingers. No. Tang Yuanhui panicked. A poison master was the most frightening profession in his eyes. Cultivators of the same level simply had no ability to resist a poison master. Swoosh swoosh swoosh. Bailey Hongzhuang didn't give him any chance to escape. "Since you have the guts to kill us, you should be mentally prepared." Even though Tang Yuanhui tried his best to dodge, There were still needles that pierced into his body. Alright, it's over. Bailey Hongzhuang clapped her hands. She looked at him disdainfully as if she was looking at an inanimate object, emitting the arrogance of a poison master. His body seemed to have fallen into lava, emitting an astonishing heat. A terrifying burning sensation seemed to be burning him into flames. Death. That was the feeling of death. Tang Yuanhui looked at the woman in front of him in horror. He never thought that he would end up like this. I beg you, let me go. He crawled in front of Bailey Hongzhuang, pleading with her. In your dreams. Bailey Hongzhuang sneered, her indifferent eyes devoid of any humanity. At this time, Di Beichen and Jiang Haihan broke free from the trapping array and jumped out again. After seeing Tang Yuanhui kneeling and begging for mercy, Jiang Haihan's heart sank. Tang Yuanhui was defeated in such a short period of time? Could it be that this woman who didn't seem to have any fighting strength was actually so terrifying? Run. Almost in the blink of an eye, Jiang Haihan had already judged the situation clearly. He could not stay here any longer, or only death would await him. An obstruction formation suddenly appeared, and Jiang Haihan flew towards it without hesitation. Di Beichen's figure was obstructed for a moment before he quickly chased after him. If this guy slipped away, he would definitely be a disaster. Bailey Hongzhuang also increased her speed. To cut the weeds, one must remove the roots. Jiang Haihan burst out with her fastest speed, rushing forward constantly, only wanting to shake off Di Beichen and Jiang Haihan. However, right at this moment, a terrifying voice suddenly resounded. Roar. An earth-shattering roar of a beast. Just one roar was enough to make the ground shake and the mountains shake. It was terrifying. Chapter 68-69. What kind of demonic beast is this? Bailey Hongzhuang's face was slightly pale. This beast's roar had a shocking effect. For a moment, she felt as if her soul was about to leave her body. Just a single roar had such terrifying power. Just how strong was this demonic beast? As a beast king, Yen Chei's power was not comparable to ordinary demonic beasts. However, it was far from being comparable to this demonic beast. In just a short moment, they felt their hair stand on end. A feeling of fear exploded from the bottom of their hearts. Master Shin said that this enlightenment monument is filled with other unknown dangers. It seems that our luck is not very good this time. Di Beichen's face darkened. This danger was obviously much greater than they thought. Jiang Haihan is just in front. Bailey Hongzhuang narrowed her eyes. They were so close to killing this guy. Di Beichen shook his head. We can't stay here for long. Let's leave first. If they wanted to kill Jiang Haihan, they would have many opportunities in the future. However, if they angered this demonic beast, they would definitely die. Okay. Bailey Hongzhuang made a prompt decision. They did not stay any longer. Demonic beast, roar? Master. Roar. Master, where are you going? Roar. Master, wait for me. Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang realized that this demonic beast seemed to have suddenly entered a berserk state. Their faces became even paler. This demonic beast's strength was already something they could not fight against. Now that it had entered a berserk state, wouldn't they die without a doubt if they were to get close? Immediately, the two of them burst out with their fastest speed. Jiang Haihan heard the beast's roars and her face turned pale. However, when she saw that this beast's roar seemed to be directed at Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang, she felt more at ease and a smile appeared on her face. It would be best if this demonic beast targeted them and ate them directly. A certain demonic beast realized that the louder it roared, the further its master ran. Its mood instantly became depressed. Had it been abandoned by its master? When it turned its head, it actually saw a certain eyesore laughing. What are you laughing at? Jiang Haihan didn't notice that a certain demonic beast was angry at all. She was still imagining the scene of Di Beichen being eaten, and her smile became even brighter. How dare you mock me? A certain demonic beast was thoroughly enraged. Chu, a human, actually dared to look at it with such a gaze. She was simply courting death. Immediately after, Jiang Haihan noticed that this terrifying monster was getting closer and closer to her. He immediately panicked and retreated step by step. What was going on? However, a ferocious mouth was already pouncing towards him, not giving him the slightest chance. Creak, creak. The sound of chewing could be heard. Jiang Haihan didn't even have the time to let out a final scream. A certain demonic beast, roar? Angry. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen heaved a sigh of relief when they no longer heard the roars of the beasts. We're finally safe now. Bailey Hongzhuang looked in the direction they escaped with lingering fear. The expression in her eyes kept changing. I wonder what kind of demonic beast it is. It's a pity that the environment here is not clear enough, and I can't see what it looks like. Chapter 68-70. There's actually such a terrifying existence in the Enlightenment Monument. If we didn't run fast enough, we might have been eaten by now. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed. A certain arrogant beast. Roar? Eat its master? Do I not want to live anymore? I hope Jiang Haihan's luck is bad. It would be best if she was eaten by this beast directly. That would save us a lot of trouble. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. She always felt that this beast was not to be trifled with. Jiang Haihan was so close to it, it was very likely that she would be eaten. Di Beichen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang's little head. One thought after another kept popping up. His eyes were full of gentleness. Tang Yuanhui is already dead? That guy is called Tang Yuanhui? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. I don't even know who he is. He's already dead. I poisoned him, there's no way he could have survived. Then did you take off his storage ring? Di Beichen asked. Bailey Hongzhuang's expression changed and she suddenly wailed, I forgot. This guy got into the top 10 this time, so the reward must be very generous. He must have it on him. However, she was in too much of a hurry just now, so she actually forgot. Di Beichen chuckled, it's fine. Bailey Hongzhuang looked behind. She really wanted to go back and take a look. However, she also thought of the terrifying beast and chose to give up. Alright, Tang Yuanhui. Why do I feel that this name is a little familiar? I seem to have heard it somewhere. He's the array master that Master Ning valued before. However, he sold his spot in the Enlightenment Monument at that time, so Master Ning despised him. Di Beichen explained. So it's him. Bailey Hongzhuang suddenly understood. No wonder he became Jiang Haihan's helper. This time you've attracted a lot of hatred. Let's go, we've already wasted half a day. Di Beichen held Bailey Hongzhuang's hand and walked forward unhurriedly. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. Let's go in this direction. I believe that we will find the opportunity that belongs to us. The further she went, the further she felt the distance between the comprehension steels. At the same time, the aura emitted by the comprehension steels grew stronger. This was enough to prove that Master Shin was right. The further one went, the more precious the things in the tablet were. However, after reaching the back, it became even more difficult for them to find a rather intimate comprehension tablet. The two of them weren't in a hurry. They had 7 days. Using the first few days to search, there was still enough time. Bailey Hongzhuang simply closed her eyes and carefully sensed the aura in the surroundings, searching for the most suitable tablet for her. Unknowingly, the distance between the two of them had widened. Everyone had a different comprehension steel that was suitable for them. Even for them, it was impossible for their comprehension steels to be together. Fortunately, there was no danger for them now, so they could search with peace of mind. Bailey Hongzhuang only felt that she had been walking for a long time. She didn't know how many comprehension steels had passed by her, but she still hadn't found the one that was most suitable for her. Time gradually passed, and the originally abundant time seemed to no longer be abundant. Vaguely, a trace of anxiety appeared in her heart. However, just as she was feeling a little anxious, she suddenly felt a trace of an incomparably intimate aura from afar. This is it. Chapter 68-71. Bailey Hongzhuang increased her speed and chased after that incomparably familiar aura. Compared to the various auras she had encountered previously, only this aura was the most intimate, giving her a feeling of déjà vu. However, the speed at which that aura left was very fast. Even though she was chasing after it at full speed, she discovered that the comprehension steel's position was really too far back. She missed the indistinct layers of comprehension steels, but was still unable to catch up. Just as she was using all her strength to chase after it, she suddenly felt a very warm and intimate perception tablet, emitting a gentle aura. It was different from the previous perception tablet that gave her a familiar feeling. This was a kind of calm and peaceful energy. She raised her eyes and looked at the perception tablet that was still very far away, then looked at the perception tablet beside her. Her eyes fell into hesitation. Which one should she choose? In the next moment, her gaze turned to the front. That aura was simply too familiar. It was as if it originally belonged to her, but she didn't know when it had been lost. She took a step forward and decided to chase after that perception tablet. However, just as she took a step forward, a huge force suddenly came and pushed her into the perception tablet beside her. She vaguely saw a blurry figure and a faintly discernible voice drifted over. Don't look for it. Since you've lost it, then don't look for it anymore. This inexplicable sentence caused Bailey Hongzhuang's heart to be shaken. Her heart ached for a moment, as if it was being grabbed by an invisible hand. The pain was indescribable. Lost it? Bailey Hongzhuang was a little confused. What exactly did I lose? Ever since she had transmigrated, she had never lost anything. These words didn't seem to be said to her, yet it caused such a stir. What exactly was going on? She didn't have time to think about it carefully. The contents of the perception tablet had already rapidly merged into her mind, forcing her to calm down and absorb the insights. The rich knowledge filled her mind. After understanding it, Bailey Hongzhuang realized that this perception tablet was actually filled with the knowledge of alchemists. Pill formulas, refining methods, and all sorts of other things were in this perception tablet. The rich content rushed into her head in an instant, almost bursting it. It was not until a long while later that the stinging sensation gradually disappeared. Just by sensing it slightly, she found that the contents of this book were of great help to the improvement of her alchemy skills. After learning from Granny Hua for more than a year, her alchemy skills had improved a lot compared to before. However, if she wanted to continue improving, she still needed to continue exploring. After all, her master was no longer by her side. The contents of the comprehension tablet completely filled the gap in this aspect. Compared to having to consult other masters on a daily basis, this undoubtedly saved her a lot of trouble. The opportunity to comprehend the monolith is indeed precious. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly. With these, her alchemy skills would definitely improve greatly in the future. He couldn't help but look into the distance. What exactly was that familiar aura? Unfortunately, there was only one chance to comprehend each time he entered the comprehension stele. Chapter 68-72. This kind of opportunity, no matter how precious the cultivation resources are, can't be exchanged. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled up slightly. She didn't know what other people would gain, but she was very satisfied with her own gains. These pill recipes and experience could not be replaced by anything else. As long as her alchemy skills improved, it would be more convenient for her to travel the immortal region in the future. I wonder how much time has passed? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes were filled with doubt. Ever since she entered the Enlightenment Monument, she had forgotten the passage of time. She also didn't know how long she had been inside. Just as she was hesitating, she suddenly saw a light in front of her. Taking a closer look, she confirmed that this light should be the path illuminated by the 5 great masters. Jianghu City. In the room, Gong Jun gazed into the distance, a faint smile appearing in his eyes. Beside him, a black-clothed man also had a relaxed expression. Master should have already opened the second seal. Gong Jun smiled faintly. After so many years, that fellow has been talking about Master all day long. Now it has finally seen you. It's a pity that Master has only opened the second seal. I'm afraid that fellow won't be able to stop it from coming, the man said regretfully. So what? It's only a matter of time. Gong Jun's eyes were deep and serene. Master is a genius. Even if he can't do it this time, as long as another seal is opened, that fellow will be able to break free from the shackles inside and come out on its own. Are we really not going to report this news to the palace lord? The man in black had a complicated expression. The eldest princess has already sent people everywhere to search for your whereabouts. Actually, the eldest princess won't harm Master. Gong Jun's eyes turned sharp and a frightening aura exploded. His malicious and ruthless appearance was no longer as simple and honest as it usually was. He was like a demon from hell, emitting a biting coldness. Remember this clearly. The person we have to be loyal to is Master, not anyone else. Even if others are doing it for Master's sake, we only have to listen to Master's orders. If you say such things again, I'll chop you up and feed you to the dogs. The man's expression immediately turned pale and he quickly knelt down. Young Master Gong, I won't dare to do it again. Don't let me find out that you leaked a single word. Otherwise, you know the consequences. Gong Jun's expression was cold. The man's body trembled. He knew very well how terrifying Gong Jun's methods were. Because he had found his master, Gong Jun's mood had improved a lot, but he would never forget Gong Jun's cold and frightening side. This subordinate doesn't dare. This subordinate swears to follow Master till death. Gong Jun retracted his gaze. When the man realized that the terrifying pressure had disappeared, he let out a sigh of relief. His entire body seemed to have lost all its strength. Only after the black-clothed man left did Gong Jun sink into deep thought. Master, regardless of whether your decision was right or wrong, I will listen to you. He never cared about what other people thought. The only person he cared about and listened to was his master. I can only hope that there won't be any mistakes this time. Comprehending the steals. Ning Tian's group stood outside and waited. Today was already the 7th day. All the array masters had to return today, or else they wouldn't be able to leave. Chapter 68-73. Fan Xian looked at Fan Ziheng with a smile. He was not in a hurry to ask about the harvest. In fact, anyone who entered the Enlightenment steals would have a much better harvest than the outside world. You guys are quite fast. 3 of you have already returned. The remaining 7 should be back soon too. Xinxing smiled. He had a feeling that Beichen would be able to obtain some inheritance related to array techniques here. After all, this kid's attainments in array techniques were really too heaven-defying. Zhen Gudao's gaze also fell on the layers of Enlightenment steals. He knew Jiang Haihan's plan this time. With him and Tang Yuanhui working together, it should not be difficult to deal with these 2 newcomers. However, he also had to be prepared. With Ning Tian's personality, once she saw that Di Beichen did not return, she would definitely suspect them. When that time came, he would have to protect Jiang Haihan well and not let the other party make the accusation true. Just as everyone was talking, another 2 array masters walked back. Ning Tian and the others had smiles on their faces. Although there might be some danger in the Enlightenment steals, the frequency of it happening was still very low. In the past few times they entered the Enlightenment steals, nothing dangerous had happened. When Bailey Hongzhuang returned, she found that her speed was much faster than before. It was as if there was wind behind her, her speed was very fast. Not long after, she saw a few familiar figures in the distance. Little girl Bailey, you're back. Xinxing smiled and waved. Bailey Hongzhuang quickly walked into the group. Only then did she realize that Di Beichen had not returned yet. She immediately turned her gaze to the Enlightenment steals. The moment Zhen Gudao saw Bailey Hongzhuang appear, his expression froze for a moment. How did this guy come back alive? Before Jiang Haihan left, she had already made it very clear that she would do her best to not let either of them escape. Now that Bailey Hongzhuang had appeared here, did it not mean that there had been some changes in the plan? Perhaps Di Beichen and Bailey Hongzhuang had separated after entering the Enlightenment steals, so Jiang Haihan and Zhen Gudao did not see Bailey Hongzhuang. Zhen Gudao's heart sank. Apart from this possibility, there was clearly no other possibility. Fortunately, the biggest threat was Di Beichen. As long as Di Beichen was dead, Bailey Hongzhuang would not be able to cause any trouble. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Zhen Gudao's expression, and her expression immediately became very strange. She knew that Zhen Gudao had instructed Jiang Haihan to do this, but the result was destined to disappoint him. Zhen Gudao also noticed Bailey Hongzhuang's gaze, and he suddenly felt an inexplicable sense of guilt. Could it be that this girl already knew? Bailey Hongzhuang, what are you looking at? Ning Tian couldn't help but ask when she saw Bailey Hongzhuang looking to the side from time to time. Nothing, Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. I was just thinking that Master Zhen's disciple hasn't come out yet. When these words came out, the expressions of all the masters were a little strange. These words did not sound like anything, but for some reason they felt that there seemed to be some other meaning behind them. Zhen Gudao's expression was also very ugly. He was almost certain that Bailey Hongzhuang must have already known about this matter. Could it be that they had encountered them head-on, but Bailey Hongzhuang was lucky and took the opportunity to slip away? Or perhaps... Chapter 68-74. While they were waiting, other formation masters appeared. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the formation masters beside her. Tang Yuanhui had already died inside. Now, only Di Beichen and Jiang Haihan had not come out. She was not worried about Beichen's safety. Even if he really met Jiang Haihan later, Beichen would not lose if the 2 of them fought. What they needed to worry about now was that once Jiang Haihan returned, he would definitely push all the blame for Tang Yuanhui's death onto them. Attacking and killing a formation master in the Enlightenment Monument was a serious crime. However, as time gradually passed, everyone realized that they had not seen Di Beichen and Jiang Haihan's figures. Everyone's mood became complicated. There's not much time left. Why haven't they come out yet? Could something have happened to them? Fan Xian looked worried. In these years, they had come to the Enlightenment Monument many times. In the past, this kind of situation would happen from time to time. However, the recent few times were obviously much better. Could it be that there was another problem? On the other side, Xin Xing and Ning Tian could not help but look at Zheng Gudao. If the other formation masters had not returned, perhaps there was a problem in the Enlightenment Monument. However, it just had to be Di Beichen and Jiang Haihan. Wasn't this too much of a coincidence? Tang Yuanhui hasn't come out yet either, Zheng Gudao said coldly. He knew that these two old fellows were already suspecting him. Ning Tian snorted coldly. Although he did not say anything, his expression already showed his thoughts. If something really happened to Di Beichen, he would definitely not let this old fellow Zheng Gudao off. It seems that the two of us were too careless. Xin Xing frowned. They had always thought that there would be no more problems after coming to the Enlightenment Monument. However, they did not expect Zheng Gudao to be so deranged and actually attack here. That kid has just ascended not long ago. I'm afraid his strength is not Jiang Haihan's match. Ning Tian's voice was slightly low. His brows were filled with hesitation and worry. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the two masters' expressions of concern, and a trace of warmth appeared in her heart. In this environment where there were so many geniuses, it was not easy for a master to be so concerned about Beichen even though he had only known him for a few days. City Lord Qin didn't say anything, but his heart was already as clear as a mirror. It wasn't until the sky darkened that everyone's heart fell to the bottom. There was only an hour left. If the three of them still did not appear, then they would not be able to come out. Why isn't the male master back yet? Could it be that he's gone too deep and can't find his way back? Xiao He was so anxious that she stomped her feet. Bailey Hongzhuang kept looking into the distance. Her eyes were firm, but her hands were tightly intertwined. He will definitely come back. The uneasiness in Zheng Gudao's heart grew stronger and stronger. He was almost certain that something had happened here. Otherwise, Jiang Haihan and Tang Yuanhui wouldn't have dragged things out until now. Could it be that Di Beichen was able to hold the two of them back with his own strength, or even kill all three of them together? Zheng Gudao felt that it was inconceivable when he thought of this. His gaze turned slightly, and he noticed Ning Tian's expression that was ready to fight him to the death. He sighed inwardly. What exactly was going on? At this moment, a faint silhouette appeared in front of them. They could vaguely see that it was a human figure. Chapter 68-75. Look, someone's coming. City Lord Qin's voice was filled with joy. The time was nearing its end, and they were even about to give up hope. For someone to return at a time like this, no matter who it was something to be happy about. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the gradually approaching figure, and when the fog gradually dissipated, a peerlessly beautiful face fell into everyone's line of sight. He's back. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips curled into a smile, and she quickly rushed forward. Di Beichen's first thought after coming out was to find Hongzhuang's figure, but he found himself in a tight embrace. The person he had been longing for was in his arms, and his eyes were instantly filled with gentleness. Why did you take so long to come back? You almost thought I was going to be a widow? Bailey Hongzhuang raised her head and looked at Di Beichen resentfully. This guy always made things so tense every time. Sorry. Di Beichen apologized without hesitation. If his wife said he was wrong, then it must be his fault. When Zheng Gudao saw that the person who came was Di Beichen, he almost couldn't control his expression. How could this guy have come out alive? Most importantly, if he came out alive, then didn't that mean Jiang Haihan and Tang Yuanhui? Young Master Di, did you see Jiang Haihan and Tang Yuanhui inside? City Lord Qin looked behind. The two of them haven't come out yet. I did. Di Beichen's lips curled into a devilish smile, and his gaze quietly fell on Zheng Gudao. Zheng Gudao's expression changed slightly. With just a glance, he already understood that the two sides had indeed crossed swords, and Jiang Haihan was most likely doomed. Then they should be behind us? I only saw them not long after I went in. Di Beichen calmly added. Ning Tian and Xin Xing also completely breathed a sigh of relief at this moment. As long as Beichen came back safely, everything else could be discussed. However, the two of them were smart people. After noticing the expressions of Di Beichen and Zheng Gudao, they had already roughly guessed what had happened. It seemed that Beichen had brought them another surprise. As the light on the path gradually disappeared, the result became clear. Qin Jian couldn't help but feel regretful. I didn't expect Jiang Haihan and Tang Yuanhui to not be able to come out in time. What a pity. Zheng Gudao's complexion was deathly pale. Jiang Haihan was the disciple he was most proud of. After losing Shen Duanyu, he had placed all his thoughts on Jiang Haihan. However, now that Jiang Haihan had disappeared, didn't that mean that in the end he didn't even have a disciple? Grandmaster Zhen, you have to take care of yourself. Don't be too sad. Ning Tian's voice rang out. His words were filled with consolation, but from the faint smile on his face, it was obvious that he was being sarcastic. Grandmaster Zhen was just about to flare up when he heard Xinxing say, "Some things are really predestined." I don't think Grandmaster Zhen's two disciples are very good at judging things. In other words, they were blind. Shen Duanyu had done everything possible to target Di Beichen, and now he had been expelled from the Formation Master Guild. Jiang Haihan was even more thorough. Now she had even lost her life. Zhen Gudao looked resentfully at the two of them. Even though he was extremely angry, he also understood that there was no use in saying these things now. This time, even he had made an error in judgment. Chapter 68-76. It wasn't until they returned to their residence that Ning Tian asked her doubts. Did Jiang Haihan die in your hands? After thinking about it, she really couldn't think of any other possibility. Di Beichen shook his head. No. No. Ning Tian raised her voice and said with a suspicious look, "Don't lie to me. There is no other possibility except for you. Master Ning, this matter really has nothing to do with Beichen." Bailey Hongzhuang also guessed that Beichen had encountered it later, but from his expression she could see that he was telling the truth. In this way perhaps the root cause was that extremely terrifying ancient beast? Xinxing was a little surprised. What the hell is going on? After we entered the Comprehension Monument we did encounter them. When we were fighting, a very terrifying beast suddenly appeared. We originally wanted to kill them, but the beast suddenly appeared, so we didn't dare to stay for long. Bailey Hongzhuang said. So, the two of them died in the hands of the beast? Xinxing was stunned. In that case it really had nothing to do with them. Bailey Hongzhuang was just about to say that Tang Yuanhui died in her hands, but she heard Di Beichen faintly hum. Then these two brats' luck is really bad. Xinxing raised her eyebrows. I can't let you take the blame for this matter. Let me handle it. Those two brats deserve it. Who told them to have such bad ideas? Ning Tian cursed. I also heard the roar of the beast before. This matter can't be fake. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Di Beichen and understood in her heart. In any case, Tang Yuanhui was also a disciple that Master Ning had once taken a fancy to. If he knew that she killed him, he would inevitably feel a little uncomfortable. It was better to directly blame it on the ancient beast. A certain monster, Humph, making this baby take the blame again. This baby didn't eat at all. Now let's talk about your harvest. How is it? Is the enlightenment inside very precious? Ning Tian narrowed her eyes and looked at the two of them with interest. She was just short of coming up to them. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly and did not hide anything. I obtained an inheritance in alchemy. Neither of them were surprised by this. With Bailey Hongzhuang's current situation, this was the most suitable reward for her. What about you? I don't have anything, Di Beichen said slowly. As soon as these words were spoken, the three people present were all stunned. Nothing? How is that possible? Ning Tian didn't believe it at all. This brat only knew how to scare people. It's true. Di Beichen looked serious. It's just that my own strength has increased by quite a bit. Seeing the man's sincerity, Ning Tian gradually started to believe him, but she still found it unbelievable. Increase in strength? What kind of improvement is it? Compared to other cultivators, they had a better understanding of the perception tablet. However, they had never encountered such a situation before. Di Beichen thought for a moment and said, I think I'm about to break through to the elementary celestial stage. Ahem. Ning Tian kept patting her chest. She was almost scared to death by Di Beichen's words. Do you know what the elementary celestial stage is? You're about to break through to the elementary celestial stage? Chapter 68-77. Beichen, there's a huge gap between the Radiant Sun stage and the elementary celestial stage. Normally, even a very talented cultivator would have to spend tens or even hundreds of years to make a breakthrough. You've only ascended for a short period of time. Xinxing's expression was complicated. He also felt that Di Beichen was exaggerating this time. However, he did not say it directly because of their relationship. I know. Di Beichen's expression was calm. He had no intention of explaining at all. Ning Tian could only look at Bailey Hongzhuang. He finally understood that Di Beichen would only be interested in explaining in detail to Hongzhuang. Beichen, when do you think you'll break through to the elementary celestial stage? Bailey Hongzhuang's eyes sparkled with anticipation. She never doubted Beichen's words. Since he said so, it must be true. However, she did not expect Beichen to reach this stage so quickly. Originally, she thought that no matter how hard they worked, they would have to spend a long time in the Radiant Sun stage. I can already feel that I'm about to break through the barrier of the elementary celestial stage. Beichen's lips curled into a happy smile. He was very surprised by this improvement. Although he did not receive any other inheritance, this improvement was considered very good. Describe the feeling of breaking through the barrier of the elementary celestial stage. Ning Tian glared at him. Keep bragging. Let's see how long you can keep bragging. It feels vast and boundless, Beichen said calmly. When the two masters heard this, their expressions changed. They looked at Beichen as if they had seen a ghost. They had heard this description before. It was a feeling told to them by a good friend who had broken through to the elementary celestial stage. However, these words were now coming out of Beichen's mouth. This kid. Don't tell me. Don't tell me it's true? Ning Tian could no longer remain calm. Could he have heard it from that expert? Xing shook his head. No matter how difficult it was to accept this result, he also understood that Beichen was telling the truth. Is there any justice in this world? Ning Tian's face immediately fell. They had been stuck at this level for so many years. Let alone breaking through, they hadn't even felt the barrier. How long has Beichen been in the chaotic immortal realm? He had only made a trip to the Enlightenment Tablet, and he was about to break through to the elementary celestial stage? Although it's a pity that I didn't get any other inheritances, it's still not bad. Beichen looked at Bailey Hongzhuang's scrunched-up face and comforted her. I'm not worried about that. It's just that you're about to break through to the elementary immortal stage. But I don't know how long that will take. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed. She was very clear that her current cultivation was still far from a breakthrough. It's just a coincidence. Beichen smiled faintly. Ning Tian, who was lamenting the unfairness of fate, suddenly felt like she had been dealt a heavy blow when she heard this. You little brat, don't you know how to respect your elders? Are you trying to anger me to death? Beichen looked at Ning Tian quietly for a moment. You look strong despite your age. Ning Tian, Xing couldn't help but say, I'm afraid that an opportunity like yours is the dream of many cultivators. There are many ways to learn other things, but breaking through to the elementary immortal stage is too difficult for many people. Chapter 68-78. They had been stuck in the Radiant Sun realm for too long and had no hope of breaking through, so they focused more on formations. Although Beichen hadn't comprehended anything related to formations, this kind of improvement was undoubtedly the most practical. Once he broke through to the elementary celestial stage, he would be able to enter the celestial realm. The formations in the celestial realm were stronger than those in the realm of chaotic immortal. They had always hoped to enter the celestial realm to take a look. However, their hopes were too slim. Beichen was obviously not far away. Facing Xing, Beichen's attitude became gentler. There are many stone tablets in the Enlightenment Stone Tablet group. Anything can happen. I just happened to run into it. After Ning Tian felt Beichen's different attitude towards her, she rolled her eyes. This brat's attitude towards everyone was better than her. This is enough to show that to you, improving your cultivation is more important than formations. In the future, your achievements in cultivation will probably be more outstanding than your formations. Hearing this, Xing nodded slightly. Judging from the fact that Beichen and his companion could chase after Jianghu and her companion, they could tell that his strength was extraordinary. Otherwise, in terms of cultivation time, they couldn't compare to him. Beichen didn't deny it. His pursuit of strength was indeed deeper than his mastery of formations. Since you've already decided to go back, we won't stop you. Ning Tian coughed dryly with a look of righteousness. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others looked at him quietly. He clearly lost a bet with Beichen, so he couldn't stay, okay? However, if you have any problems with formations or alchemy in the future, you can still come to me. Ning Tian shifted his gaze uncomfortably. Didn't these two guys know how to save him some face? Thank you, Grandmaster Ning. If we have the chance in the future, we'll definitely visit you. Bailey Hongzhuang cupped her hands and smiled. Only then did Ning Tian's expression become better. Sure enough, Bailey Hongzhuang was much cuter than this kid. Xing couldn't help but snicker. Ning Tian was someone who would normally lash out at anyone she didn't like. She never thought that there would be a time when she was at her wit's end. Sure enough, after the news of Jianghu and Tang Yuanhui's death spread, almost everyone believed that Beichen had something to do with it. Although Fan Xian and the others did not say it out loud, they actually thought so in their hearts. Other than that, they really could not think of any other explanation. The next day Xin Xing had already stepped forward to refute the rumors, informing everyone that this matter had nothing to do with Di Beichen. In the beginning, almost everyone believed that Xin Xing was covering up for Di Beichen, but after hearing about the ferocious beast in the perception tablet, their doubts faded. Jiang Haihan is not weak. Di Beichen is definitely not her match. At first I was shocked, thinking that Di Beichen was really so ruthless. Now it seems that Jiang Haihan and Tang Yuanhui were really unlucky. Zhen Gudao was also skeptical about this news. He absolutely did not believe that Jiang Haihan's death had nothing to do with Di Beichen, but he also felt that with Di Beichen's strength, it was indeed impossible for him to do so. After thinking about it, the only explanation he could think of was that Jiang Haihan and Tang Yuanhui were unlucky and encountered a ferocious beast, but Di Beichen and Tang Yuanhui were lucky and ran away. Thinking of this, he felt even more unwilling. Chapter 68-79. That night, Di Beichen and Yang Zhenzhuang disguised themselves and returned to their residence in Qingyang City. Although the competition had already ended, there were still many people who hadn't left. Many of the city lords were still unwilling to see them, so they could only use this method to secretly sneak back. As soon as they entered, they heard Yang Lingfeng shout, "Where did this little thief come from? How dare you come to our place? I think you're courting death." Bailey Hongzhuang was speechless when she saw Yang Lingfeng swinging his staff at them. At the same time, Di Beichen had already reached out and blocked his staff. Yang Lingfeng tried to pull the staff back, but found that the man's strength was extremely great. He used all his strength but still couldn't move the staff. His face instantly became very ugly. This was an expert. His current strength had increased by quite a bit compared to before, but the other party's display of strength was already much stronger than his. Father, sister. Seeing that he wasn't a match for them, Yang Lingfeng didn't hesitate to call for help. What a joke. He couldn't even beat one, let alone two. If he didn't hurry and find help, he would lose his life. Bailey Hongzhuang took off her hat and looked at Yang Lingfeng speechlessly. They hadn't planned to disturb the others and it was already very late. But now, after Yang Lingfeng's shout, he could already hear the sound of footsteps around them. Ret. Hongzhuang? Yang Lingfeng looked at the familiar face in front of him in astonishment. Why are you back? Then this is... Di Beichen's true appearance was also revealed. Yang Lingfeng immediately put down the staff in his hand and smiled embarrassedly. So it's Beichen. Misunderstanding, it's all a misunderstanding. Faced with the two people's gazes as if they were looking at an idiot, Yang Lingfeng explained somewhat unwillingly, I didn't think that you would suddenly come back. Yang Han, Yang Qingxue and the others had already rushed over. After seeing the two familiar faces, they all revealed joyful smiles. You brat, you've been so noisy all day long that I thought there was a thief. Yang Han looked at Yang Lingfeng with disdain, then smiled at Di Beichen and said, Why did you come back today? The competition is over. It's time for us to go back. Bailey Hongzhuang smiled faintly. Hearing this, Yang Han was overjoyed. They had wanted to go back for a long time. It was only because Di Beichen had not returned that they had been waiting here. Right now, he felt as if he had planted two big carrots and was surrounded by wolves, tigers and leopards. If he was not careful, his big carrots could be snatched away. Therefore, no matter what, he had to guard them. Yang Han, what about the two masters? Di Beichen said, It's done. Yang Han, that's good. Shall we set off tomorrow? Meanwhile, Yang Lingfeng suddenly came over and said, In my opinion, why don't we leave right now? It's already late at night and there aren't many people around. If we wait until tomorrow to leave, we will inevitably be noticed. In an instant, everyone's eyes fell on him. Feeling the stares, Yang Lingfeng's lips twitched. I'm just saying. Don't take it to heart. Yang Qingxue smiled. It's rare for you to come up with such a reliable idea. Chapter 68-80. Qingyang City. When everyone appeared on the streets of Qingyang City, they all breathed a sigh of relief. When we were in the small world, we could only stay in the house every day. It was really boring. Now that we're back, we can finally breathe some fresh air. Yang Lingfeng spread his arms. It had only been a few days, but he already felt like he hadn't felt this way for a long time. Bailey Hongzhuang and the others smiled as they looked at the clown-like guy. The corners of their lips couldn't help but curve upwards. It wasn't just Yang Lingfeng. They all had the same feeling. We've had a great harvest in the small world this time, but it's a pity that we didn't find the illusion form pearl. Bailey Hongzhuang sighed. They had originally planned to look for the illusion form pearl, but they didn't find it. It was inevitable that they would be disappointed. I've already asked about the secret realm. It will open soon. If you're interested, you can go take a look. Yang Han naturally knew about this. He had asked around as soon as he returned. Bailey Hongzhuang looked up at Di Beichen and heard him say, "All right. You're going to the secret realm? I'll go with you." Yang Lingfeng came over. His cultivation was steadily increasing, especially after Hongzhuang gave him the pills. He felt that his chances of breaking through had increased. Exploring the secret realm might even be able to boost his strength. Yang Han looked at Yang Lingfeng. He also felt that it would be a good choice to go with them, but he didn't know if Di Beichen and Yang Lingfeng would be willing. Noticing Yang Han's inquiring gaze, Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. "If that's the case, then let's go together." Yang Lingfeng's smile deepened. "Don't worry, I won't be a burden." As he spoke, Yang Lingfeng looked suspiciously at Di Beichen. "That's not right. Logically speaking, you can't be stronger than me. But why was your strength greater than mine just now?" Di Beichen, "I don't know." Yang Lingfeng, "That's impossible. There must be a reason." Seeing Yang Lingfeng's suspicious expression, Yang Qinxue slapped him on the head. "You still have the cheek to say that. How long has Beichen been in the chaotic immortal realm? You even asked us for help at that time. Aren't you ashamed?" Yang Lingfeng's expression changed and he felt a burst of annoyance. He had tried so hard to cover up this matter, and now he had to bring it up. "Sis, are you going to the mystic realm?" Yang Lingfeng quickly changed the topic. Yang Qinxue pretended not to see through his intentions and nodded. "Of course I'll go." Although she had many chances to go to the mystic realm on a daily basis, this mystic realm that she had never heard of before was not very attractive to her. However, when she thought about going with Hongzhuang and Beichen, she felt that it was full of attraction. "Once we have a better understanding of the situation tomorrow, we can go there," Yang Han said with a faint smile. The next day, Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Beichen went back to the Di family to hand over some of the cultivation resources they had obtained. These cultivation resources were mainly for Di Yujue and the other elders who urgently needed to improve their cultivation. Ordinary family members didn't need them for the time being. However, they also discovered that whether it was Di Yujue, Lan Yunxiao, or the others, they all improved very quickly during this period of time. Chapter 68-81. They were overjoyed by this discovery. Regardless of when they would ascend, they did not have to worry about their status in the upper realm now that they had such a high cultivation level. The situation in the crossing deity domain is still unclear. If Father and the rest encounter an opportunity to ascend, do you think? Bailey Hongzhuang frowned. They had only been in the chaotic immortal realm for a short period of time. They did not know much about the crossing deity domain. If Father and the rest went to the crossing deity domain directly, the situation would not be optimistic. "If the time comes, let's go to the chaotic immortal realm together," Di Beichen said in a deep voice. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly. She also felt that this was the best way to go. Although the situation in the chaotic immortal realm was not as good as the deity domain, it was still much better than the crossing deity domain. "Don't worry. I've already told Father about this." Di Beichen patted Bailey Hongzhuang's hand. His handsome face was filled with satisfaction. His wife was indeed virtuous. "Send someone to send a letter to Gong Jun. Ask him how everyone is doing. If everything is fine, we'll prepare to enter the secret land." "All right. I'll listen to you," Di Beichen said with a smile. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Di Beichen. She felt like he was teasing her. "I'll refine some pills in the next 2 days. I happen to have all the herbs I need." City Governor Bai and City Governor Yang had told her that they needed the Eternal Azure Spirit pill. Since she had agreed, it was better for her to refine the pills as soon as possible. Moreover, Di Beichen was close to breaking through to the elementary celestial stage. She wanted to refine the pills in case of an emergency. Yang Qinxue and her brother wanted to ask Di Beichen and the rest to relax. However, when they heard that Bailey Hongzhuang was in seclusion to refine pills, they were filled with emotions. "I finally understand why there's such a huge gap between me and Hongzhuang." Yang Lingfeng sighed as he looked at the house that was filled with medicinal fragrance. Yang Qinxue glanced at him. "It's good that you know. Why don't you hurry up and cultivate? It wasn't easy for us to come back, so we need to relax a little. Let's go eat something delicious first and bring some back for Beichen and the others. What do you think?" Yang Lingfeng smiled flatteringly. Yang Qinxue. "I knew it. When Di Baichen finished writing the letter and was about to send someone to deliver it, he discovered that a chubby figure had unknowingly appeared outside the gate of the Castellan mansion. Before he could say anything, he heard an earth-shattering sound. Boss. Then a round body broke out with a speed that was completely inconsistent with his size, and quickly came to Di Baichen's side. Boss, you're back. Gongjun? Di Baichen was surprised. Why are you here? I heard that you won first place in the Array Master competition. I didn't know what was going on at first, but a few days ago, a lot of people suddenly rushed into the Immortal Treasure Pavilion like crazy and bought all the array stones. It was only when everything in the store was sold out that I found out that you won first place. Gong Jun's tone could not help but rise. Boss, you're too awesome. He just casually participated in a competition, and he actually won first place. Isn't that Shin Duanyu exploding with anger? Chapter 68-82. Gong Jun looked at Di Baichen with tears and snot running down his face. Boss, you have to help me. Your array stones have been officially recognized. Even if the price is doubled, several times, you can still sell them quickly. The guards of the city lord's mansion looked at the fat man hugging Di Baichen's leg without saying a word. Their expressions became very complicated. They really didn't expect that the most expensive array master would have such a friend. It was really hard to say. Get up first. Di Baichen looked at Gong Jun, who didn't care about his image at all, and said unhurriedly, "Oh." As soon as the boss spoke, Gong Jun didn't dare to delay and immediately stood up. Boss, you have to help me. This is my best chance to defeat the Wanbao Pavilion. You don't know that Guan Hongtian's face has been green with anger recently. Listening to Gong Jun's constant bombardment of words, Di Baichen wasn't in a hurry. He just listened quietly until someone's mouth was dry. Then he said, Boss, why aren't you saying anything? You talk too much. Gong Jun, I will make some array stones for you. As soon as he said this, Gong Jun's eyes lit up. It was as if he had been injected with chicken blood. Thank you, boss. After the matter was settled, he noticed that Bailey Hongzhuang wasn't here. He couldn't help but ask, where did Madame go? She's refining pills. Hearing this, Gong Jun's eyes flashed with a trace of splendor. He rubbed his hands and said, Boss, did you find any good treasures in the market this time? We did find a lot. Then my spirit stones were exchanged for treasures. We used all of them to buy medicinal herbs. You didn't restock. No. Gong Jun's face suddenly fell. He was still hoping to use those spirit stones to buy some array stones. After all, it was troublesome to restock. Boss, you guys completely ignored me, Gong Jun couldn't help but grumble. Hong Zhuang said that she was going to give you an eternal azure spirit pill. Di Baichen said lightly, it seems that you probably don't need it. No. Gong Jun hurriedly said, I knew that Madame was gentle and kind. Even a little brother like me would be taken into consideration. I'm really blessed. Boss, you guys are my benefactors, my second parents. Di Baichen. When the Yang siblings came back from shopping, they found that Gong Jun was also here. At the same time, Bailey Hongzhuang also came out of the house. Seeing that you've been busy all day, we bought some food back. Have a taste. These are the most famous dishes of our Qingyang city. When Gong Jun heard that there was food, he immediately came over. Great, I haven't eaten much for the past 2 days. Yang Qinxue, Xiao He and Xiao Bai didn't want to be left behind and they all ran over. Gong Jun, how have Yen Che and the others been recently? Bailey Hongzhuang was a little surprised when she saw Gong Jun, but after thinking about it, she knew that he must have come to Qingyang City after hearing the news. Madam, don't worry. They're doing very well. Gong Jun held a drumstick in one hand and said as he ate, they seem to have been quite busy recently. Zhongli Mu and the others have gone out to train and Big Brother and the others aren't at home. Basically, they all have their own plants. Chapter 68-83. Bailey Hongzhuang and Di Baichen looked at each other. This was very much like Xiren's style. Madam, did your pill refinement go well today? Gong Jun blinked and looked at her expectantly. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded slightly, her heart already knowing that this guy already knew. She took out a porcelain bottle. This is for you. Gong Jun took it excitedly. Madam, you're so straightforward. You're really a heroine. Yang Qinxue and Yun Ruoyan's eyes lit up when they saw this. Their hearts were filled with envy. Here, this is for you and City Lord Yang. Bailey Hongzhuang took out another porcelain bottle and handed it to Yang Qinxue. She didn't know how long it would take to enter the mystic realm, so she might as well give it to them first. This is for us? Yang Qinxue was overjoyed. She didn't expect Hong Zhuang to go into seclusion as soon as she came back to help them refine pills. She was very touched. Bailey Hong Zhuang nodded slightly, then took out another white porcelain bottle and handed it to Gong Jun. Gong Jun was a little stunned. He looked embarrassed, but he quickly took it. Madam, you're too generous. You've already given this to me? Bailey Hong Zhuang looked at this guy helplessly. This is for City Lord Bai and Sir Bai. We won't be in Xi'an City for the time being, so you can help us bring it over. Gong Jun's face fell. All right. Di Beichen said, take advantage of this opportunity. Gong Jun was stunned at first, but he quickly understood. This was a chance to get close to the City Lord. Many people wanted to get close to him. He was going to deliver pills this time, so the City Lord would definitely have a good impression of him. If the City Lord gives you a reward, you should accept it. Bailey Hong Zhuang continued. City Lord Bai had already said that he would definitely reward him. With his personality, there was no way he would accept it directly. It would be bad if he rejected it. Gong Jun's face immediately bloomed into a smile. I knew Madam was the best. Yang Qinxue, Yang Lingfeng, the speed at which this guy changed his face was really amazing. Gong Jun stayed in the City Lord's mansion for a day and then left. Di Beichen made a lot of array stones for him. Now that they were in first place, there was no need for the Immortal Treasure Pavilion to rush over. However, Di Beichen still promised Gong Jun that he would make more formation stones before heading to the Mystic Realm and send someone to deliver them to him. Yang Han found Di Beichen and the other three after understanding the situation in the secret realm. At the same time, he handed over the rewards that he had prepared beforehand to the two of them. Miss Bailey, thank you so much. It's just a small matter. City Lord Yang doesn't need to be so polite. Besides, the City Lord is also here. Bailey Hong Zhuang smiled faintly. Not only had City Lord Yang avenged them, but he had also prepared a few sets of ingredients for the Eternal Azure Spirit Pill as a token of his gratitude. As I said before, this mystic realm is a random teleportation mystic realm. No one knows where Jing Jing will be teleported to after entering, but I've asked the people who went in. Basically, it's not very dangerous. Some places are rich in resources while others are relatively barren. It all depends on one's luck. Yang Han was a little helpless. This kind of random mystic realm was the worst. It all depended on one's luck. It was possible to enter without obtaining anything, but it was also possible to enter a strange place that was full of opportunities. Chapter 68-84. I've already asked a few people who have entered this random secret realm. They've all been to different places, so I can't be sure if you'll go to a place that no one else has been to before. After hearing all this, Bailey Hong Zhuang's eyes were filled with interest. Such a secret realm sounded full of mystery. It was indeed their first time encountering it. City Lord Yang, I wonder what the secret realm where we obtained the illusory form bead is like? It's a forest. According to that person, after entering, you'll see a vast forest. There are many monsters and human cultivators in it. He just happened to obtain it. It's said that those human cultivators are a race from another plane. They seem to be called the Spirit Clan. Hearing this, the four of them had a general understanding of the situation. At least knowing the situation, they could judge if they had come to the right place after entering. Because no one knows what they'll encounter after entering, it's best that you prepare everything you need in case of an emergency. Yang Han reminded them. 3 days later, Bailey Hong Zhuang and the other three followed City Lord Yang in the direction of the teleportation secret realm. Walking on the bustling street, their appearance immediately became the focus of the crowd. Look, isn't that Di Beichen? The first place of the Array Master competition. Not only is his array skills amazing, he's also very handsome. Don't even think about it. The woman next to him is his cultivation companion. However, you can think about how to befriend him. He'll definitely be an extraordinary person in the future. Discussions spread around Di Beichen. Almost as soon as someone said something, many heads popped out of the shops in order to see Di Beichen's true appearance. Beichen, you're really famous now. Recently, many people have been looking forward to meeting you. Yang Lingfeng smiled at Di Beichen. He knew very well that in the past few days, many people had wanted to visit him, but they were all rejected by his father. Di Beichen smiled faintly and shook his head. He was not interested in these things. Actually, it's not a bad idea for you guys to make a trip to the Mystic Realm. That way there won't be so many people who will miss you. Yang Han's expression was serious. You don't have to worry about ordinary forces, but if there are really better forces coming to visit, I will still help you keep an eye out. Most of the visitors these days were here for business. Considering Di Baichen's situation, they were obviously not of much use, so he politely declined. Then I'll have to trouble City Lord Yang. Di Baichen cupped his fists. Yang Han smiled faintly. How could such a small matter be troublesome? While they were chatting, they finally arrived at the entrance of the random secret realm. This is the entrance to the secret territory. If the four of you go in together, you will appear in the same plane, but I don't know where exactly you will appear. Be careful, City Lord Yang warned. Father, don't worry. I will protect them well. Yang Lingfeng patted his chest and said with a smile. Yang Han glanced at a certain someone who had a smug look on her face. It's good enough if you don't cause trouble for everyone. Father, you don't have to dislike me so much. Yang Han turned to look at Yang Qingxue. You're the boss here. Take care of them and ensure their safety. Chapter 68-85. The group of people walked into the random secret realm together, only to feel a blinding light attack them, and everyone unconsciously closed their eyes. The teleportation formation was very long. Bailey Hongzhuang closed her eyes and sensed the changes in time. When the energy disappeared, she opened her eyes and looked at her surroundings. Towering trees and a clear blue sky. There was a faint smell of grass in the air, and everywhere was full of vitality. Looking up, one could see chirping birds and colorful wildflowers blooming in the grass. What a beautiful scene. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips unconsciously rose. According to Mayor Yang's words, maybe the place they came from was the place where the illusion form bead had appeared. Perhaps we've come to the right place, Bailey Hongzhuang said with a smile. However, after she said this, she found that no one responded. She couldn't help but look to her side, only to find that Di Baichen and the others were not here. What's going on? Bailey Hongzhuang quickly looked around. Her expression was extremely complicated. Master, they couldn't have been teleported to another mystic realm, right? Xiaohei ran out of the chaos ring. She was stunned when she saw this scene. I don't think so. Bailey Hongzhuang was a little hesitant. City Governor Yang said that since we were teleported here together, we shouldn't have appeared in different mystic realms. If that's the case, could it be that something went wrong during the teleportation process? That's why we've been sent to different places? Xiaohei guessed. Bailey Hongzhuang looked around again. After making sure that there was no one around, she sighed and said, I'm not sure. I can only confirm that they're not around here. This mystic realm is not small. If they've been teleported to different places, I'm afraid it won't be easy to find them. The chaotic immortal domain's mystic realms were different from the upper realm. The mystic realms here might not be small worlds. They might even be in another plane. If it was the second case, then it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens for them to find the other party. Master, we have to be careful then. Xiaohei stopped joking. I can confirm that Xiao Bai's aura is not around here. It was undoubtedly very dangerous for a human and a beast to enter a world that they had never been to before. Bailey Hongzhuang nodded. She was no longer in the mood to enjoy the beautiful scenery. She slowly walked forward. As long as they could find the spirit race, they would be able to confirm that they had not come to the wrong place and that they were not in danger. As they walked forward, they found themselves in a world of green. The scenery around them hadn't changed much, and the wood element aura was extremely dense. Bailey Hongzhuang took a deep breath. This place looked like a pure land on earth. Even the air had a gentle aura. Although the environment in the chaotic immortal realm wasn't bad, it was still inferior to this place. The yuan power in this place was also purer. This is a treasure trove. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. Although the yuan power in this place wasn't as dense as the chaotic immortal realm, it was much purer than the chaotic immortal realm. If a cultivator continued to cultivate in such an environment, the speed of their cultivation would be slower. However, their foundation would be extremely solid. The eternal azure spirit pill wouldn't be of any use to them. Chapter 68-86. Look, is there a human over there? A rock looked ahead excitedly, its eyes filled with excitement and curiosity. Hearing the rock's voice, a fox also quickly came over. With one look, it was also shocked. I heard that humans can stand and walk and they can even wear clothes. It seems like they look like this? Don't talk nonsense. Not far away, the male lion walked over with a look of disdain. Since when did we have a human in this place? You two are just making things up. Lion, this time we're not lying to you. The fox revealed a rare serious look. Quickly come and take a look. Could it be that you've seen a demonic beast like this before? The lion took a closer look. When it saw that white figure, its expression became very strange. I've indeed never seen this demonic beast before. Could it be that there's another mutation in the ape clan? Don't talk nonsense. The roc flapped its wings. It's not like you don't know what those fellows from the ape clan look like. Are they as good looking as that white fellow? The lion nodded. That's true. This is the first time I've seen such a fellow. Why don't we go and ask her if she's a human? The three demonic beasts looked at each other and nodded in agreement. Bailey Hongzhuang was sitting on the grass to rest. She had already walked for a distance, but the scenery around her had not changed. The most important thing was that based on the environment here, it did not look like there were humans living here. So she could be sure that the place where humans lived must be quite a distance away from here. However, there was nothing in the surroundings that could help her judge. She could only rely on blind guesses to choose a direction and continue moving forward. Just at this moment she suddenly heard footsteps behind her. Turning her head, Bailey Hongzhuang met with 3 pairs of eyes. Look, this fellow really looks like a human. Bailey Hongzhuang, looks like a human? She was originally a human, alright? Hey white fellow, are you a human? The fox went to Bailey Hongzhuang's side and sniffed. Immediately, a look of surprise appeared on its face. Wow, it smells so good. What the hell are you doing? Xiaohei reached out and pressed the fox's head back down. Where did this fellow come from? Why is he trying to get close to Master without saying anything? Oh, so there's a beast here. It was only then that the fox noticed Xiaohei. You look really interesting. I've never seen you before. Hey, have you two met before? Fox looked at Lion and Roc. As expected, the two of them shook their heads. Never seen him before. Are you even human? Roc sized up Bailey Hongzhuang. Bailey Hongzhuang recovered from her momentary shock. It was obvious that these 3 silly creatures had never seen a human before. That was why they were behaving so strangely. However, she could feel that the auras of these 3 fellows were very strong. What kind of place was this? It was one thing for demonic beasts to be so strong, but there were no humans here? Master, could it be that these 3 silly fellows live in a place so remote that humans have never come here before? Xiaohei asked through telepathy. What kind of situation was this? Chapter 68-87. What has it got to do with you whether I'm a human or not? Bailey Hongzhuang asked tentatively. If she wanted to understand the situation in this mystic realm, these 3 fellows were obviously the breakthrough point. So you're saying that you're a human? The fox's eyes lit up. Good girl, I have to tell them that I caught a human. Won't they admire me to death? The lion was a little suspicious. She didn't say that she's a human. You're celebrating too early. What's there to care about those false reputations? The roc had a look of disdain. Why don't we stew her? I've never eaten human flesh. Even if she's not a human, I've never seen this kind of demon before. It's not bad to have a taste. Following the roc's suggestion, the lion and fox nodded. Your idea is still the best. Otherwise, once this news gets out, won't they all come to snatch it? Stew? Bailey Hongzhuang was stunned. What kind of ferocious demon did she meet that they wanted to stew her just because of a disagreement? Master, what should we do? Xiaohei was also dumbfounded. Why were these 3 fellows not playing by the rules? She had been asking nicely and now they were talking about food. Why don't you like to be braised? The roc asked. Bailey Hongzhuang. I don't like it, thank you. The lion, I think it's better to eat it raw. There's no need to go through so much trouble. The fox, look at you. You have no taste at all. What's the point of eating it raw for so many years? You have to change the method. I think it's better to roast it. Bailey Hongzhuang. Is it really okay for you guys to be so serious in discussing this in front of me? Who said that I'm a human? Bailey Hongzhuang hurriedly spoke up after seeing that the 3 demon beasts had almost finished discussing their choice to roast it. Sure enough, hearing this, the 3 demon beasts were stunned. You're not a human? Of course I'm not a human. When has there been a human in this place? Bailey Hongzhuang's expression was matter of fact, but her heart was pounding. She really didn't know the situation of this place. If she said something wrong, these 3 fellows would definitely attack her immediately. You're right. We've never had a human here. The fox had a look of disappointment. I thought you were really a human. Then why didn't you say so just now? I just wanted to tease you and see what you want. Bailey Hongzhuang continued to lie. Then what kind of demonic beast are you? The great rock asked curiously. I'm a branch of the ape clan. Bailey Hongzhuang thought about it. Perhaps only the ape clan was the closest to her. Of you. Then your branch evolution is quite strange. The fox was a little suspicious. Why don't you have fur and wear clothes? You don't say. Your clothes are quite nice. Bailey Hongzhuang's lips twitched slightly. After noticing the fondness in the fox's eyes, she hurriedly said, Do you also want a nice set of clothes? I know how to make them. How about I make a set for you? Really? The fox jumped up. How can you make a set for me? Chapter 68-88. Lion, me too. Rock, me too, me too. Bailey Hongzhuang. All right. Xiaohei. What's going on here? After knowing that Bailey Hongzhuang was willing to make clothes for them, the three demon beasts happily invited Bailey Hongzhuang to their residence. Along the way they kept asking Bailey Hongzhuang all sorts of questions, and she was also racking her brains to answer them. Fortunately, the three demon beasts' brain circuits were very simple, and they did not ask her about where the cloth came from. Otherwise she really would not know how to answer them. Master, these three fellows look silly, but I'm afraid that their cultivation has reached the elementary immortal stage. Xiaohei secretly transmitted her voice. Their luck was really too bad. Now, they had deceived these three fellows, but if they were accidentally discovered, then they would be in a very difficult situation. I know. Bailey Hongzhuang was a little helpless. She had already figured out the strength of these three fellows, so she could only choose to bluff her way through. Now we can only take one step at a time. It won't be too late to think of a way to leave when we find an opportunity. These fellows are really strange. They've already broken through to the elementary immortal stage, but they still haven't transformed into human form? Xiaohei was a little incredulous. Logically speaking, demon beasts with such cultivation should have been able to transform into human form long ago. Hearing this, Bailey Hongzhuang was slightly startled, and then her face darkened. It seems that this is not the mystic realm that City Lord Yang mentioned. Such powerful demon beasts were extremely powerful no matter where they were. If the spirit clan really existed here, these three fellows would have seen them long ago. Until now, they had not transformed into human form, which meant that there was no illusory bead here. Xiaohei was a little disappointed. Then we came here for nothing. Not only did they come here for nothing, but their little lives were also threatened. Bailey Hongzhuang followed the fox to her residence. This was a cave, but the cave was very large. It was dry and airy inside, and it was very suitable for living. White guy, can you make clothes for me here, okay? The kind that looks good. The fox looked at Bailey Hongzhuang excitedly and rubbed its paws together. What color do you want? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. White. The fox in front of him was a white fox. Its fur was as white as snow, shiny and smooth. It looked very beautiful. Bailey Hongzhuang really appreciated it if she didn't think about the dangerous situation at hand. White. Fox shook his head. The color is too plain. I want red. The bright red kind. Bailey Hongzhuang raised her eyebrows. This taste was not bad. Lion, then I want a red one too. The bright red kind. Rock, me too, me too. Bailey Hongzhuang, it's not bad for a fox to wear red, but for a lion and rock, isn't that a little weird? Okay. Then you stay here and work first. The three of us will go and find you some food, haha. The fox was very happy and pulled the rock and the lion outside. After the three demon beasts left, Xiaohei heaved a sigh of relief and sat weakly on the ground. Master, why don't we run now? Chapter 68-89. Xiaohei dismissed the idea of leaving immediately. Then, Master, do you really know how to make clothes? Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the cloth in her hand. I guess so. She had no problem with fighting or refining pills, but needlework. She had never really done it before. Are you sure? Xiaohei looked doubtful. It had followed its master for so long, but it had never seen her do this before. Even if I haven't eaten pork, I've seen pigs run. Let me try. Bailey Hongzhuang held the cloth in one hand and a needle and thread in the other and began to study it. Xiaohei looked at its master's serious expression and sat quietly at the side without disturbing her. It kept praying in its heart, hoping that its master would succeed. Otherwise they would be in deep trouble. Although Bailey Hongzhuang had never done it before, she calmed down and thought about it carefully. Then she had a rough idea of what to do and began to do it seriously. Based on their current situation, they should be surrounded by demon beasts. These three fellows were rather stupid, so it was easy to trick them. If they went to other places and met more intelligent demon beasts, then the situation would be really dangerous. Rather than that, it was better to get some information from these three fellows. Now she really hoped that Beichen and Ling Feng had not come here. It would be best if they had gone to other planes. After all, Beichen and Ling Feng were the ones who really did not know how to needlework. After studying for a long time, Bailey Hongzhuang finally made her first piece of clothing. Xiaohei, how is it? Bailey Hongzhuang looked at the first piece of clothing she had made in her life and asked expectantly. This. Xiaohei looked at it and its expression was a little complicated. Master, why is there an extra hole here? Where? Bailey Hongzhuang took it out and looked at it. I accidentally cut it too far. Let me fix it. Xiaohei. When the three demon beasts returned and saw the finished product in Bailey Hongzhuang's hands, they immediately put the fruit aside excitedly. White guy, are you done? Bailey Hongzhuang smiled. You can try. Fox sized up the clothes in front of him, which had several holes in them, and asked doubtfully, This? How do I wear this? Let me help you. With the help of Bailey Hongzhuang, the fox finally put on his clothes. White guy, what is this? Fox pointed at the hole that Xiaohei had mentioned before. There was no longer a hole here, but there was one more layer than the other places. Bailey Hongzhuang looked at it and said, This is the bag I made for you to store things. So that's the case. The fox suddenly realized, White guy, I didn't expect you to be so smart. You can put the fruit in. Do you like it? Bailey Hongzhuang asked. Fox nodded. I like it. Those guys have never worn any clothes before. I'll wear these clothes to show off in front of them. Lion Rock, what do you think? My clothes look good, right? Fox, who was wearing a bright red outfit, wriggled coquettishly in front of the two demon beasts, looking extremely pleased. Lion, it looks good. Rock, I want it too, I want it too. Lion, I want a bag too. Rock, I want it too, I want it too. Bailey Hongzhuang glanced at Rock. You want everything. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.